Chosen one, perhaps you have never felt comfortable talking too much about what you do, about what you decide, or even about what God is doing inside you. And you know what? This is not weakness. This is wisdom. You have been shaped by God to act with purpose, not to make noise for attention. There are people who need to be seen to feel alive, but you do not. Your strength is not on the stage. It is in the firmness of each decision you make in silence, each no you give when no one is watching, each difficult choice you make alone, trusting only in God. Your attitudes are seeds that generate impact, even when no one applauds. Maybe you have already felt that your actions go unnoticed, but they do not. Heaven is watching, and in the invisible, your firmness has caused thunderclaps. The spiritual world recognizes when a chosen one moves with integrity, because your actions do not come from a place of pride, but from obedience. And this carries more weight than any beautiful speech. Do not be fooled into thinking you need to speak a lot to be heard. Those who walk with purpose do not waste energy trying to convince. You convince by example, by presence, by consistency. And that is precisely why your attitudes, even in secret, make so much noise in the spiritual realm. They disrupt lies, disturb what is false, and strengthen what is true. You have been set apart to live this way, doing what is right even when no one is looking. This is the essence of the chosen one. God sees every movement you make, and the impact of this goes far beyond what human eyes can see. If this message is resonating within you, follow the channel now. Because here you will find words that do not massage the ego, but that strengthen the spirit. And you, chosen one, deserve to be nourished with truths that touch heaven. Humility is a trait that the chosen carry effortlessly, not because they try to appear humble, but because they know that true value lies not in appearance, but in essence. They do not need to raise their voice or draw attention to prove what they carry inside themselves. Those who are chosen do not seek applause. They walk silently with heaven. They do what needs to be done without needing anyone to see. They do not act for applause, but out of conviction. They do not serve for fame, but for love. This is what makes their posture so different, even when no one recognizes it. Have you noticed how certain people make a point of showing everything they do? You, on the other hand, do and move forward. Your actions are responses. Your life preaches more than any microphone. This is true humility. It is acting by direction, not by a need for acceptance. Those who are guided by God understand that not everything needs to be announced. There is strength in silence. There is wisdom in letting the fruits speak for you. Those who have their souls rooted in God do not need to prove anything, because the Father himself confirms, at the right time, everything that has been done with a pure heart. The humility of the chosen is not passivity. It is maturity. It is the certainty that heaven sees what human eyes cannot see. You may be ignored by many, but you are being watched by the heavens. And that is worth more than any like, award, or compliment. Many do not understand how you can continue even without recognition. The answer is simple. You do not move for that. You move for purpose. That changes everything. Those with a purpose do not need an audience. They only need direction. Humility is also seen in how you treat others. Even with wisdom, power, and discernment, you do not diminish anyone. You do not put yourself above others, even when you could, because you understand that your value comes from God and not from comparison with others. Many times, you have had the chance to defend yourself, to prove a point, to expose something, but you preferred silence. You preferred to preserve peace. This choice may seem weak in the eyes of the world, but it is grand in the spiritual realm. God honors this kind of attitude. While some need to assert themselves to be heard, you simply live with integrity. And that is enough. Your presence communicates. Your life speaks. Your fruits are evidence. That is why, even in silence, you are respected by those who truly see with spiritual eyes. Humility protects you. It keeps you from falling into the traps of ego. It keeps you sensitive to the voice of God. It is what opens paths behind the scenes, touches hearts effortlessly, and attracts divine favor without depending on display. Chosen one, never think you are being small for not wanting the spotlight. That is a sign of wisdom. True greatness hides in simplicity, and it is there in secret that God reveals himself the most. Do not trade your essence for the approval of those who do not understand your calling. You were not created to follow patterns. You were shaped to be a channel. And the more humble you are, the freer you will be to be used by God. Because where there is humility, there is space for his presence. Continue being who you are, even when the world does not understand. Your strength lies precisely in that, in doing without expecting, in serving without demanding, in walking without showing off. This is the mark of the true chosen ones. Have you ever noticed how, in many moments, silence speaks louder than any speech? The chosen ones know this. They do not need to compete for attention or vie for space. They remain firm while the world stirs. They observe, discern, and choose the right time to act, without haste, without noise. Many times you hear about the victories of others. Stories are told with enthusiasm, as if everything revolves around visible achievements. And you listen, you celebrate. But deep down, you know that what you carry does not need exposure. Your dedication does not come from the spotlight. It comes from purpose. This is the power of silence. It preserves you. While others rush to show what they have, you choose depth. When everyone runs to be seen, you seek to remain firm in what no one sees. Your obedience, your faith, your consistency. Your silence is not absence. It is concentrated presence. When you enter an environment, even without saying a word, your posture communicates. People feel it. It's as if something different is there, even if they cannot explain it. This is spiritual. It is the presence of God overflowing through your life. Have you realized that you do not need to defend yourself? That even when they try to silence or diminish you, there is something in you that remains firm. This firmness does not come from pride. It comes from the certainty of who you are in God. And those who have this certainty do not need to shout to be heard. When you choose to step off the stage and let your actions speak, something happens in the spiritual world. Heaven moves. Your choices, made in silence, shake structures. Because the power that is in you does not depend on words, but on divine direction. The silence of the chosen is full of aligned intentions. It is not passive, it is strategic. It is like the seed that, even buried, is already producing fruit in the invisible. Those who look from the outside may not see anything, but those who have sensitivity perceive that something great is being prepared there. This silent strength is what confuses the proud and exalts the humble. The world values what is loud, but God looks at the heart. And when he finds someone who remains firm, even without recognition, he honors in ways that no one can explain. You have silently endured situations that could have brought you down. You have held back words that could hurt, but chose the path of peace. You have refrained from responding to accusations, to avoid entering battles that God himself would take care of winning for you. This is strength. This is spiritual maturity. Do not be fooled into thinking that silence is a sign of weakness. For the chosen, it is a sign of trust. Trust in God, trust in the right time, trust that what has been planted with truth will bloom at the exact moment without rush, without effort, without explanation. Those who carry God's calling know that sometimes the best noise comes from actions aligned with heaven. The way you act, how you choose to forgive, how you continue to serve even without return, all of this echoes where words cannot reach. Chosen one, never underestimate the power of your silence. It is not empty, it is full of presence. And this presence changes the environment. Your discreet walk is doing much more than you can imagine. It is healing, it is inspiring, it is transforming. True faith is proven in movement. It is in getting up every day with courage, even when the scenario is unfavorable, that your faith manifests. It is not in speech that the world perceives what you carry, but in how you live. The way you treat others, how you react to difficulties, says much more than beautiful words. James 2:18 is an invitation to authenticity. It reminds us that faith without practical expression is like a hidden light. It illuminates nothing. You may say that you trust in God, but when your actions show compassion, justice, firmness, and humility, then people see the God who dwells in you. It is action that validates faith. How many times have you been misunderstood because you did not explain yourself? And yet you continue to act with truth and righteousness. That is faith. It is believing that you do not need to prove anything because your life is already preaching every day. What you do when no one is watching is worth more than public speeches. The chosen one carries within them the silent urgency to do what is right. Even if no one sees, even if there is no recognition. You do not act for applause, you act because you are aligned with a greater truth. And this is what makes your faith so strong and so visible. There are moments when just one of your actions changes everything around. A forgiveness released, a gesture of generosity, a choice that goes against the logic of the world, but is in harmony with heaven. It is in these moments that the spiritual manifests in the natural. The invisible becomes concrete. You do not need to say that you have faith because your presence already reveals it. When you insist on integrity, when you prefer silence to gossip, when you pray even when tired, all of this is faith in the form of work. It is your life showing what your mouth does not need to announce. Many speak, but few live. But you have walked a path where every step has purpose. God is watching, and the world is being impacted. Even if no one says anything, even if you do not hear compliments, your faith is being preached through your actions. That is the difference for those who are chosen. You understood that faith is not only to be felt or proclaimed, but lived. And every action of yours, every choice made with your heart grounded in God, screams in the heavens. This is how your faith becomes light in the midst of darkness. Some people think they need a lot of noise to be noticed. They need to speak loudly, impose themselves, and constantly show what they are doing. But you, chosen one, are different. You understood early on that you do not need to be in the spotlight to make an impact. Your presence already communicates the essential. The world notices when you arrive, even if you say nothing. You do not live to please others, nor do you feel the need to prove who you are. Your actions speak for you. While everyone is trying to be seen, you go at your own pace, faithful to what you believe. That is rare. That is strong. That is spiritual. Your silence holds more power than many lengthy speeches. There are those who try to show off while you choose to remain. Your consistency draws more attention than any forced display. Because there is truth in you. There is purpose. You do not seek the stage, you seek meaning. And that is what makes people stop to listen to you, even when you are not speaking. They feel that there is something different in the way you act. There is a type of wisdom that does not need to be announced, and you carry that. It is as if God has clothed you with a silent authority, a type of presence that organizes the environment, that brings peace just by being there. You do not need to shout to be heard. You do not need to show off to be relevant. Your impact does not come from quantity. It comes from essence. You may say few words, but they leave a mark. You can perform a simple action, and it changes someone's day. This is the power of less is more operating in you. It is the truth that touches. It is the light that does not need to call attention to shine. Your confidence comes from within. You know who you are. You do not need likes, compliments, or approval. What you do because it is right. Even if no one sees, even if there is no recognition. This security frightens some, but inspires many. Because the world is in need of people who are genuine. You carry a type of firmness that calms, a type of faith that does not need to prove itself. And it is precisely because you do not need to appear that God exalts you. Heaven is not impressed by noise, but by coherence. And you, chosen one, have been consistent even when no one is watching. Those who observe you notice that there is something in you that cannot be bought or copied. It is something that comes from your connection with God, a discreet but profound shine, a type of authority that only the Spirit can generate. This is what distinguishes you, and that is why your actions, even small ones, carry so much weight. Your silent walk has echoed in the spiritual world. Even without saying anything, you confront. Even in silence, you guide. And this is not vanity, it is calling. It is the purpose of living a life that reflects the light of God without needing a spotlight. Continue like this. Do not compare yourself. Do not lose yourself trying to make noise to prove your worth. Your essence already speaks for everything. And those who have spiritual sensitivity will recognize who you are, even if you never say a word about it. Remember, heaven moves by obedience, not by appearances. And you have been obedient. Every firm step, every coherent attitude, every silent choice. All of this is building something eternal. Keep being light where no one sees. Your testimony is being written in the margins of your life. And the entire spiritual world listens when you decide to remain faithful, even without a stage. That is the power of less is more. And it is within you. Chosen one. Have you noticed how your firmness disturbs those who live for appearances? How your silent decisions are viewed with suspicion by those who need noise to feel relevant? That's right. Your way of walking in peace, even amidst chaos, is an affront to those who do not know true faith. Some people will not understand what you are doing, and they do not need to. What God placed in your heart was not meant to be explained, but to be lived. You have been called to take positions that will not always make sense to those who see only with natural eyes. What you carry comes from above, and what is above does not need explanation. It reveals itself in the right time. There will be resistance. This is certain. There will be people trying to discredit you, sow doubts, criticize your choices. But you were not called to please an audience. You were chosen to transform environments. And those who transform disturb. Those who stand firm in truth attract glances, comments, and often opposition. But understand this. It is not about you. It is about what you represent. Your presence carries purpose. Your posture carries truth. Your silence carries authority. And no matter how much they try to push you out, you remain standing. Not by your own strength, but because God sustains you. The resistance you face today is a thermometer of the strength of your calling. The greater the struggle, the greater the impact you are causing in the invisible. The enemy is not disturbed by those who are stagnant. He is stirred by those who are advancing. And you are advancing, even when you think you are just resisting. You may not realize it, but every step you take is being observed. There are people learning from your example. Even when you say nothing, your life is shouting principles, values, and firmness. Your way of facing battles without leaving your place of integrity inspires those around you, even if no one says this out loud. You do not need to prove your worth to anyone. Your mission does not depend on applause. Your essence is already enough to echo in the spiritual world. And it is this echo that disturbs those who live in superficiality. Your presence causes movements because you carry heaven within you. And where heaven enters, the false is shaken. It will hurt at times. There will be moments when you will want to give up. But remember, the chosen are not spared from the fire. They are shaped within it. And the fire that was meant to burn you will be the same that will refine you. Do not flee from resistance. Use it as a push to go deeper, higher, stronger in what God has called you to be. You do not need to rebut criticisms. Your fruit speaks for itself. You do not need to explain yourself. Your peace confirms. The silence of someone who is certain of their purpose is louder than any desperate scream from those who live without direction. And this is what makes you a threat, not to the world, but to the darkness that operates in the world. Your ascent begins the moment you decide not to negotiate your essence. When you remain firm, even without understanding everything. When you continue, even when tired. When you choose not to remain silent in the face of wrong, but also do not lose yourself in useless debates. This is the place where the chosen move, with faith, with courage, with humility. You do not need to raise your voice for heaven to hear you. You also do not need to explain yourself to be understood. Those who are chosen know, actions speak for themselves. They shout without sound, touch without making contact, and reveal who you are without you needing to justify yourself. When you walk in silence but with firmness, the spiritual world moves. There is something in your posture that disturbs those who live in falsehood, but at the same time, consoles and strengthens those who live in truth. It is as if your presence reorganizes the environment. And this is not arrogance. It is anointing. Many times you are not understood. Some people even look at you strangely, as if your way of acting is exaggerated, too quiet, too intense. But what they do not know is that you do not live for their eyes. You live to please God. Obedience is your shield. Purpose is your compass. And your life, even without a stage, microphone, or spotlight, is being used by God to impact those who truly need to see an example of living faith, silent courage, and discreet faithfulness. There are moments when your attitude, even small in the eyes of men, generates a huge movement in the spiritual realm. A silent forgiveness, a difficult choice, a renunciation that no one saw, a prayer made in the dark. It is these attitudes that build your authority before God. You are not doing little. You are doing what is right, even when no one understands, even when no one applauds. Heaven is watching, and heaven knows exactly who you are. Your mission has never been about the quantity of words, but about the quality of presence. Being a beacon, even in silence. Being an answer, even without a speech. Being firm, even without being harsh. Being light, even when no one recognizes it. The world tries to push us into a place where we need to shout to be heard. But the chosen do not follow that rhythm. The chosen follow the rhythm of the Spirit. They know that each step in obedience has more impact than 1,000 words cast to the wind. Your strength lies in the coherence between what you believe and what you do. When this aligns, you become unshakable. Not because you are perfect, but because you are positioned at the center of God's will. And those who walk with heaven never walk alone. You may even be silent, but you are being used. You may be hidden, but you are being shaped. You may be in silence, but you are being observed. There are people who will be transformed just by being near you, just from seeing your way of acting, just from feeling the peace that you carry. This is the mark of the chosen. They do not impose themselves, they influence. They do not dominate, they inspire. They do not exalt themselves, they serve. And yet they are remembered. Even when silent, they are heard. The impact of your actions goes beyond what you can imagine. They sow what words could never plant. And the best part, they are eternal seeds. God is writing the story of your life with the gestures you offer daily. And this is grand. So, continue. Do not stop because of criticism. Do not slow down because of loneliness. Do not change your essence to please those who do not understand your purpose. You were called to make noise where no one expected, but not with words, with actions. God chose you precisely for that heart, for your willingness to obey even without applause, to continue even without a stage, to remain even without recognition. And that is what distinguishes you. That is what lifts you up. That is what makes you a true chosen one. If this message spoke to you, I want to ask you something simple. Subscribe here to the channel, but not just to follow the upcoming content. Do this as an act of positioning, as someone saying, I understood my calling. I am firm in purpose. And if you can, share this video with someone who needs to remember the strength that lies in sincere actions. Write in the comments, I was called to transform. This is more than a phrase. It is a reminder. It is a silent cry from your soul. And remember, your actions are already echoing in heaven.